There's a new detail about the future of the Yellowstone universe that completely changes how we should look at the upcoming spin-off, and honestly, I don't think enough people are talking about it. Dutton Ranch isn't just another continuation of Yellowstone. It might actually become the darkest chapter in the entire franchise because Beth and Rip are no longer protected by the Yellowstone name. This time, they're completely on their own. And that changes everything. You're watching Cineverse Hub. After the Yellowstone finale, Beth and Rip leaving Montana felt like a fresh start at first. A chance to finally escape all the violence, the politics, and the bloodshed tied to the Dutton legacy. But the more details we get about Dutton Ranch, the clearer it becomes that Texas might be even more dangerous than Montana ever was. The biggest reason is simple. Beth and Rip are entering a territory where nobody fears them yet. Back in Yellowstone, people knew exactly who the Duttons were. John Dutton built that reputation for decades. But in Texas, Beth and Rip are outsiders trying to build something from scratch, and that makes them vulnerable in a way we've honestly never seen before. Now, let's talk about the biggest threat in the series because this is where things get really interesting. The new villain, Beulah Jackson, doesn't sound like a typical Yellowstone enemy at all. Most villains in this universe rely on brute force or political influence. But Beulah seems different. She's calculated, patient, and incredibly intelligent. And honestly, that might make her more dangerous than market equities ever was. What makes this even crazier is the fact that Beth and Beulah are basically mirrors of each other. Both women are obsessed with legacy. Both are ruthless when it comes to protecting what belongs to them. The difference is that Beth usually fights emotionally while Beulah appears to think several steps ahead. That creates a completely different type of conflict from anything we've seen before. And then there's Rob Will, who feels like the perfect physical threat for Rip. From the descriptions, he sounds aggressive, unpredictable, and violent. Basically the kind of man Rip would absolutely hate because he reminds him too much of himself. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the show slowly builds toward a brutal confrontation between the two somewhere near the finale. But here's the real twist nobody seems to be discussing. The biggest danger in Dutton Ranch might not come from Texas at all. It might come from Yellowstone's unfinished business. Because let's be real. Jamie's disappearance is not something people are just going to forget. Marshall's already hinted that investigations connected to the Dutton family are still ongoing. And once Beth and Rip suddenly relocate to Texas right after Jamie vanishes, that becomes extremely suspicious. I actually think Season 1 could split its tension into two directions at the same time. On one side, Beth and Rip are trying to survive against new enemies in Texas. But on the other side, they're constantly looking over their shoulders, terrified that somebody from Montana is getting closer to the truth. And if that happens, Carter might end up right in the middle of it all. Honestly, Carter could become one of the most important characters in the series. Yellowstone always explored legacy through family, and now Beth and Rip finally have someone they see as their son. But the scary part is how much Carter is starting to resemble Rip. He's growing up surrounded by violence, loyalty, and survival instincts, exactly like Rip did. That means Dutton Ranch might slowly become the story of whether Beth and Rip can stop Carter from turning into another version of themselves. And considering how damaged both of them are emotionally, I'm not sure they actually can. At the same time, the show will probably introduce a softer side to Beth that Yellowstone rarely had time to explore. Raising Carter could force her to confront parts of herself she's spent years burying. We already saw glimpses of that in Yellowstone, but this spin-off feels like it's pushing that idea much further. Now, let's talk about the Texas setting itself because this changes the atmosphere of the franchise completely. Montana always felt cold, isolated, and haunting. Texas feels bigger, hotter, and far more chaotic. That alone could make the action feel more explosive and unpredictable. And honestly, I think the writers know exactly what they're doing. Dutton Ranch doesn't seem like it's trying to replace Yellowstone. It feels more like the evolution of it. A story where the old rules no longer apply and where Beth and Rip finally realize that escaping the past is impossible. As for release timing, everything still points toward a late 2026 premiere if production continues smoothly. That would also line up perfectly with the expanding Yellowstone universe, especially with Marshall's and 1944 developing alongside it. But the biggest question remains this. Can Beth and Rip actually build a peaceful life together? Or are they too shaped by violence to ever truly escape it? Because if Yellowstone taught us anything, it's that the Dutton legacy always comes with a price.